Back in Benwood, Wilson was watching TV with Emily while Madison sat at the table, staring at her phone anxiously. It had been several hours since she had dropped off of Axel at the school for the field trip, and he had answered any of the texts that she had been sending, asking if he was having fun or if he was alright. They probably had the kids show off their phones for the trip, Wilson suggested, trying to ease his wife's nerves as well as his own. They are there to learn after all. Well, I figure that, but it's been hours, Madison pondered out loud. Shouldn't they have been given a break by now or something? A few minutes passed, and Madison finally couldn't take it anymore. That's it, she declared. I'm calling him. Something's definitely wrong. She opened her contacts menu and was about to dial Axel's number when Robin came running down on the stairs. Turn on the news! Turn on now! She cried in alarm. Okay. What's the problem? Wilson asked. He switched the channel to the news, and the family immediately got their answer. This is Chris Jackson, reporting live from the headquarters of Fast Track Tech, where dozens of eyewitnesses claim to have seen an experimental flying machine blasting out of the building, containing 4 kids, most likely students from the visiting 6th grade class of Benwood Middle School. Madison and Wilson's eyes went wide as the report continued. According to the statements given to us by the students and the staff, the 4 kids have been identified as Isaiah Spencer, Olive Greenway, Samantha Rivers, and Axel Norris. There is no current information as to where the craft has landed, but authorities are still investigating to determine the whereabouts of the missing students. Details will follow with any further updates from authorities. As the report ended, Madison, Wilson, Robin, and Emily were speechless by what they had heard. Madison finally hurried back to the table, grabbed her phone, the car keys, and her purse before scooping Emily up into her arms. Everyone, in the car now! We've got to get to the city as quickly as possible. Wilson and Robin immediately grabbed their things and followed Madison into the car. Robin, use my phone to tell Eleanor what's happened, and then pass the message on to Isaiah and Olive's parents, Madison instructed. They then backed out of the driveway and hurried onto the main road. Wilson gently put his hand on Madison's and tried to look as reassuring as possible. We shouldn't assume the worst until we know what's happened, he whispered. Madison could only nod. She really did not want to assume that Axel was in danger, but it was easier said than done. Meanwhile, the students had been escorted outside to a safe distance as the police inspected the lobby and the building itself for any damage and took statements from the staff and Professor Reed. Chloe, along with Ryan, another friend of hers and Axel's, still couldn't believe what she had seen. It doesn't make any sense, she said to Ryan. Why was Axel in that weird hovercraft thing? Search me, Ryan replied. But between you and me, this whole thing is starting to feel weird. You hear that Austin's missing too? Chloe raised an eyebrow. He is? She asked. Ryan nodded. Yeah, apparently he just disappeared after the trial earlier today, he explained. Dylan said that he saw him following Axel into the hallway, but he never came back into the room. Chloe was beginning to feel a little uneasy. Okay, that's a little concerning. She muttered. Did Amanda tell the police when they got here? Or, or yeah, came Amanda's voice. And they said that they couldn't find him. Um, she flopped down on the chair, her next to Chloe. What do you mean they couldn't find him? Chloe protested. He was in the building with us. That's literally what I said to that cop. Amanda replied. And, literally word for word. Except I ended that sentence with moron. Of course you did, Ryan muttered. Guys, we can table this for a second and focus on the bigger picture here. 4 of our friends just got blasted into the farthest corner of the city, and we have no idea whether they're alive or not. That thing they were driving could have exploded if it crashed into something. Chloe shouted. Speak for yourself, Amanda remarked. He's your friend, not mine. And I'm sure I'll be fine. I've seen that kid bounce back from worse. Getting hit in the face with a locker door is not the equivalent to being blasted across 50 city blocks in an experimental hovercraft, Ryan argued. Chloe rolled her eyes as the two began to continue to argue, and walked over to a quiet part of the sidewalk to be alone. She was still thinking about what she had said to Axel the other day and was starting to feel guilty. I hope he didn't think I wanted him to be different, she sighed. Please be alright. Axel? Axel! Axel! Oh, came a voice. Axel's eyes wearily opened. And he felt a strange sensation in his head and noticed his eyesight was getting clearer. Axel? Are you okay? Samantha's voice, he shouted. He looked to his left and saw a blurry outline of his friend, albeit upside down. Hang on, hold still. Oh, Samantha said as she reached inside the aircraft. There was a click. And Axel fell onto his head and sideways out of the craft and onto the ground. Sorry, here, Samantha said as she helped him sit upright and handed him his glasses. They fell off after he landed. Axel warily took his glasses and put them back on. Once his vision was back, he looked around. The hovercraft was laying upside down against a dumpster in the alleyway. Where are Isaiah and Olive? He asked nervously. They're fine. They're at the street trying to find out where we are in the city. You've been out for a while. Axel stumbled onto his feet and followed Samantha out of the alleyway. Isaiah and Olive were indeed looking at a street sign when Samantha called out to them. Guys, over here, she said. Both of them felt a jolt of energy seeing Axel awake. They hurried over to him to see him. You okay, Hermanito? Oh, Olive asked as she looked him over. Look like you're on death's door for a while, Isaiah added. Oh, and I found this piece of paper that fell out of your pocket. Axel's pupils shrank as he saw what was in Isaiah's hand. And he rapidly snatched the paper and shoved it back into his pocket. Thank you, he said quickly and timidly. You're welcome, Isaiah answered, confused. Well, now that we're all here, maybe we should try finding a way to get back home. Olive suggested. First, we need to find out how far we are. First, we need to find out how far we actually landed from the building. Samantha added. She reached into her pocket, only to realize that her phone wasn't there. My phone! I must have left it at Fast Track Tech, Isaiah said. And, yeah, we all realized that earlier. We're gonna have to find a physical map or something to find out how far away we are. Or we'll have to hurry. It's getting dark, Axel added. And he was right. By now it was late afternoon, and the sun was beginning to set. I've got a bad feeling about being out here at night. He shivered. The others agreed and started walking away from the alley and into the bustling streets. The four friends walked for a long time, but they couldn't find a map anywhere. The streets were damp, dirty, and crowded. People passing by gave them suspicious looks as they pushed past. As the sun went down, it grew colder, and the streets slowly became deserted, except for the occasional homeless individual sleeping on the street. Guys, Axel asked, do you think we should stop? I don't think it's safe to keep walking through the streets like this. Stop where? Isaiah replied. A hotel? We don't have that kind of money. Heck, we don't even have money for a motel. Olive just elbowed him hard and glanced at Axel, who was leaning on Samantha to stay upright. Sorry, bud. I'm just a little tired, Isaiah apologized. We all are, Samantha moaned. We really don't have a lot of options. We've got to keep going. Maybe we can find a police station or something. Axel was about to say something else when he noticed something behind him. Guys, I think we're being followed, he whispered, fear trickling into his voice. Olive looked behind him and saw three figures in the dark. And sure enough, they were getting closer. Follow me, she whispered, and they ducked into another alleyway. Grab what you can find for a weapon. This is probably going to be dangerous. Axel grabbed a garbage can lid and held it in front of him, while his friends grabbed tools and utensils from the various piles of trash. They saw the shadows of the figures getting closer and closer until they could hear their footsteps. Suddenly a light shone into the alleyway, and the kids all screamed, "We don't have anything valuable! Please don't hurt us!" Axel wailed as he cowered behind his makeshift shield. "Whoa, relax, kid. We're not going to hurt you," came a voice. Axel cautiously peeked out from behind the lid and saw the source of the light. It was coming from the phone of a tall 16-year-old boy. He had blonde hair and was dressed in a long-sleeved shirt, torn jeans, and dirty shoes. And he wasn't alone. Next to him was a girl with black hair and a boy with brown hair and freckles. Both of them were dressed in grubby t-shirts and jeans. So, you really are the kids from the news, observed the boy, as he looked at Axel and the others. I'm sorry, do we know you? Olive asked. Right, let's start over. I'm Jacob, and these are my friends Amy and Patrick. Sorry about the scare. We saw this news report on what happened at Fast Track Tech, and we recognized you guys from the footage they showed on TV. In that case, do you think you can help us get back to the Fast Track building? Samantha asked. Jacob, Amy, and Patrick exchanged concerned looks. I don't know if that's a good idea. Patrick answered nervously. Axel and his group were confused. What's that supposed to mean? Isaiah asked. Jacob looked a little surprised. You mean you don't know? He asked. Know about what? Olive asked. Jacob nodded at Amy, and she stepped forward. Over the past several weeks, kids and teenagers have been disappearing from our side of the city. Ever since Fast Track had announced the trials for that new learning program, there have been spikes in disappearances, Amy explained. Axel was confused. Wouldn't this have been reported on the news? He asked. Patrick shook his head sadly. Look around, Bud. The only attention that this district gets is from people looking for sanctuary, graffiti artists, and lawbreakers. There's so many crimes committed that the news just stopped caring. Axel felt sorry for the three teenagers, but his mind was still focused on something else. One of our classmates disappeared earlier today too, he added. He was out in the hallway with me and was just gone a few minutes later. I rest my case, Jacob said. There's something off about that place. And it's no coincidence that this all started not long after Governor Milton announced the plans for her learning algorithm redevelopment program. Axel's eyes suddenly lit up. She was there too, he recounted softly. Who was? Samantha asked. Governor Milton. Axel answered. I saw her with Professor Reed when I was leaving the bathroom at lunch. I followed them down the hall, and that's how I found the lab. Why was she still there after making her speech earlier this morning? Olive asked. And why was she going into that lab with Professor Reed? Isaiah added. I don't know. Axel replied. I think Jacob's right. There's something wrong here. We can't not go back. We've got to find out what's happening to the kids before anyone else goes missing. Everyone knew that Axel was right. As obvious as it would be to run away from the danger, they just couldn't leave the mystery unsolved. All the same, it's getting too late to head any further in that direction. Come on, I'll take you to our place. It's not far from here. You definitely don't want to be sleeping here at night, replied Jacob. He waved his hand over his shoulder, motioning for everyone to follow him. As they walked down the cold streets, Axel couldn't help but feel a sinking feeling forming in his stomach. I've got a bad feeling about all of this, he said to himself, as he pulled on the tassels of his hat. A couple blocks down on the road was a large, abandoned hotel. Despite its peeling paint and exposed brickwork, the building was structurally sound. Moving into the alley that sat next to the building, Amy moved a large metal dumpster, revealing a small opening in the wall. Checking out time is approximately noon, she smirked as she crawled through the opening and into the dilapidated lobby. Axel and the others followed her inside, and then up a flight of stairs into a large master suite. It had some boxes for sitting, an old couch with torn fabric, several old mattresses, and large sheets of tarpaulin on the floor. You guys live here? Axel asked. Yeah, our parents weren't in the best position to raise us in one way or another. Eventually, we ran into each other on the streets and decided to make this place our own. I know it's not exactly the Four Seasons, but it's home to us. Jacob smiled. In an empty trash can, Amy lit a fire to illuminate the room as everyone looked for a spot to sleep. Olive and Samantha took the couch while the others found mattresses to lay down on. One by one, the kids fell asleep, except for Axel. It wasn't that he wasn't comfortable. It was the fear of not knowing what was to come that was keeping him awake, as well as the fact that he was a long way from home and missed his parents dreadfully. Finally having enough, he got up and walked into the next room, where an open window will provide a clear view of the nighttime sky overlooking the lively city. As he leaned on the windowsill, Axel reached into his pocket and pulled out the folded piece of paper again. Is there something you need to talk about? Came a voice. Axel jumped and saw Jacob standing behind him. Axel sighed as his eyes fell back onto the paper in his hands. Jacob stopped next to him and eyed it curiously. This time, Axel didn't hide it. He let him see it. As he read it, a soft smile creased Jacob's face. Is this a dance proposal for your friend? He asked. Axel closed his eyes and nodded. Samantha and I have known each other since we were in kindergarten. She's been my best friend for years, but lately I've started seeing her differently. And when our school announced the fall dance, I told myself that I was going to ask her to be my date. But every time I try to ask her, I just shut down. Sadness was infecting Axel's tone. Maybe it's just not meant to happen, he added. I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to me. Jacob was a little taken aback. Hey, come on, kid. Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm sure she'd say, hey, yes. Axel just shook his head. It's not just that. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try to fit in, nobody wants to be seen with you? I know a little bit about what that's like, Jacob said. Being told over and over again that no one will ever accept you, that you're just a freak of nature. But that doesn't make them right. I really wish I could believe that. Axel sighed. But when you're a little red-headed boy with big glasses, a learning disability, and weird fashion sense, people aren't exactly shy about telling you have a problem. Jacob turned his head towards Axel and gave him a serious look. Look, kid, I may not know you very well, but I've met people in your position. I should know. I was one of them. Someone once told me that you basically have two options in this world. You can believe what those jerks say about you and live your life in misery, believing there really is something wrong with you. Or you could ignore them, embrace who you are, and maybe even find more about yourself than you ever knew. Axel looked at Jacob. That's similar to what my mom said when I left Benwood this morning, he said. That sounds like she sees you a little more than you're seeing yourself, Jacob added. We all want to be normal and blend in with society for acceptance. But the thing no one ever realizes is that the normal just doesn't exist. People associate that term with whatever they find comfortable and calming. This mindset can be very dangerous if influenced in a negative way. That's why I've started telling myself that in order to live your life happily, you have to accept that there simply is no normal. Jacob's words were now echoing in Axel's mind. No normal? He whispered. Just something to think about, Jacob replied. Come on, let's get some sleep. The two boys returned to the room and laid down again. As he drifted off, Axel kept repeating what Jacob had said. There is no normal.